Okay, so I'll just warn you in advance, you're going to hear a lot of background noise because 3 out of our 4 children are hanging out right behind me, including my youngest daughter. And she is insistent that everyone try the quesadillas that she's eating for lunch. But I wanted to kind of show off a few things going on here in our incubator. I went to kind of get me a coffee from the local coffee shop, get some tacos for lunch, and I came back and there were several more babies hatched all of a sudden, and I didn't realize they were there. So far we've had over 25 babies hatched successfully. We have had 4 that didn't make it, 3 that, either came out of the egg and didn't make it shortly afterwards, or had some, I don't know what happened, and then 1 that didn't even make it all the way out of the egg. But what you can see here is this right here is a Welsh Harlequin female. Now, I'm very confident that it's a female because I've worked really hard to ensure that our flock has accurate bill sexing. That was not something that you find in hatchery quality birds. It's something you really have to cull for and work towards, which means you have to grow out your birds. Now, this baby here, she should be a female, and she has a pink bill with a black bean-like dot at the tip. That is a female in the Welsh Harlequins, and the males will have a darker bill. Now, what do you need, Lexa? Are you trying to get another tortilla? Oh, she's trying to crawl on the couch. She's just learning how to crawl, so it's really exciting for her. Now, I had a viewer that kind of let me know when I posted some of the darker colored ducklings that most likely is a Campbell duck trait of the dusky allele. And it's really cool because that kind of where you get the dark Campbell looking ducks from. And I've also been doing some research, and over in the UK it seems that was kind of what was used to create ducklings that could be sexed at birth. Now, they're not auto-sexing, so that won't continue on to the next generation, but if you're kind of looking to breed a hen with a dusky allele with a Welsh Harlequin drake, a silver one especially, it kind of will help produce offspring that can be sexed at hatch. That's not top priority for me. It would be nice for selling, but since I can pretty much tell most of the sexes of our Welsh Harlequins so far accurately, I'm pretty okay with not being able to tell the sex of every single one. Now, so this is the 4th one with this dusky gene, and I'm really excited to grow all 4 out and see male, female, or what's happening. And then right here I have a new color variety I've not had before, and this duckling looks like a solid chocolate duckling, and what I'm thinking is that is most likely going to be a duckling that has the look of a khaki Campbell. And so I've said before, our Campbell ducks have all different color varieties, and also it looks like this hatch we actually got some gold face Welsh Harlequins, which we haven't. All of our hens are silver face, but I actually was looking at some ads recently from the homesteaders which we got our ducklings from, and they actually have gold and silver varieties, and it is possible for a silver variety to have those genetics in their background. Now, I will have to do some more research on my own. I'm still kind of learning how the gold varieties work because I've mostly worked with silver variety hens. Now, some of our original flock, when I first started hatching, were the gold variety, but I did not keep any of those. I actually ended up selling them and getting out of it for about 6 months because we had so much going on. Now, this was several years ago, so you can see there's a baby trying to come out of the egg right now. That's actually another Welsh Harlequin. So we've had a ton of these with the Welsh Harlequin coloring on them. And you can see this incubator is absolutely filthy because these are not just the first few eggs to hatch. We're now in the high 20s going into the 30s on how many eggs have successfully hatched. So that doesn't include the unsuccessful hatches. Hey, boys, does she have any more quesadilla? If not, see if she maybe wants a taco because she may have eaten all her quesadilla. And so she's so excited. She can't decide if she wants to eat lunch or say hi to all the baby ducklings. And so you can see this one just hatched. It's trying to figure out how to walk around and get around. And they still have their yolk sacs. It's still drying out. And I'll leave them into dry. But you can kind of see, since we have hatched so many, the incubator is absolutely filthy. There are some weird colored eggs, and I thought maybe those had some kind of bacteria growing inside of it. But believe it or not, most of them, I candled them last night, and they still had some viable ducklings in them. So there are going to be more ducklings hatched. Now, not every duckling in this incubator is going to be viable. It's just part of it. But there are several that will be. And you can see I just suddenly had 3 hatch and 1 almost hatch. So it's pretty exciting to see how many of these eggs are viable, because when I tried hatching this winter, only 15 out of about 45 eggs even hatched. However, now we have literally almost 3 dozen ducklings successfully hatch, and that's pretty exciting, seeing that there's still about 29 eggs in here, I think, that need to hatch. And there was 32 earlier, so I'm thinking about 29. Maybe 28. So that's still a lot. Obviously, even if half of these hatch, that's a pretty incredible amount for a backyard homesteader using these styrofoam incubators that are several years old. So I'm really excited to kind of see what happens here. Don't worry, I'm not going to touch the babies. I'm letting them dry out in the incubator, and they're all cuddling up. So I'm really excited to kind of see what else happens, but I think this is a pretty good amount. You want to eat a snack? What do you want? More quesadillas. You ate an entire quesadilla. God bless you. They're all gone. What about a taco? So, guys, I just want you, if you're new here, I am so glad that you're here, but I do homestead in an urban area. I do have 4 children and several children that come over to hang out at our house. You will always hear background noise, whether it's from planes, trains, the local traffic, highways, my children, the animals. It's just a part of urban homesteading. It's not nice and quiet where you can record in peace. We don't have any pillows?
Yeah, I'm not getting up and getting one.
Bubba, do you want to take her to lay down? Please. Okay, we'll pause your game.
I can't pause an online game.
Oh, I didn't realize. Can you tell I'm not a gamer because I don't know that much about gaming? Okay.
Get stopped.
So you can see just how kind of filthy the incubator is. But guys, that's what happens when you've been incubating for a minute. After those first few eggs hatch, oh man, it does start to smell a little weird. So we have ours in our living room because that's the easiest place for me to kind of manage. But if that's not something that you can handle, I'm just giving you a fair warning. Find a place to get it where it's not going to be a bother to you. And you can actually see this duckling looks like it's trying to zip around, because what they do is they pip through the egg. That's where they, poke a little hole so they can breathe. And then over time they do what's called unzipping the egg, is where they turn in a circle and then they use their feet to kind of kick the egg open. And not always. Sometimes they use their heads, but they can hurt their necks doing so. Sugar, be careful. Crazy puppy. My basset hound is trying to jump on top of my son, and the basset hound weighs over half his weight. Basset hounds they look so small, but they're kind of chubby. Aren't you kind of chubby? Yeah. Hi, chubby dog. Spoiled. He doesn't like me giving attention to anything. Not ducklings, not the camera. He thinks he's the baby. And Lexi calls him our good boy. He's 3 years old almost, but he doesn't know that he's not a big baby. Now, everything's an absolute mess in here because there are so many ducklings. So I'm going to be listing some of these for sale just to kind of clear it out. Plus it helps kind of cover feed costs and everything else. Just to sell to other people who just raise ducks because they're pretty. But I'm kind of getting rid of the last little bit of ducklings that have mallard cross into them because it just isn't really where I want to go. I'm really interested in these Campbell ducks. So, but I can tell you that the chocolate colored ones will look like a chocolate mallard, or actually kind of like a khaki Campbell duck, kind of that muted tone, and they're really pretty females. So those turn out really pretty. Hi, here's one of those with that dusky gene that we're thinking that's what they have. You can see how dark they are in color, and then with their creamy colored chest. And I really just enjoy experimenting with the different color genetics. Now, if you know us, we don't usually use red lights anymore. We're kind of getting out of that. We actually saw where Morgan Gold from Goldshell Farms has been using the radiant lights, and we really like those, but I changed this out because our radiant light bulb, I thought it went out, and so I put this in as an emergency. It turned out that it just kind of tripped. So I'm going to be putting those back in just a little bit, switching out the lights, because I really do like that they don't emit any light whatsoever, and they just kind of emit heat. The only tricky thing is if you have small kids, you really need to make sure that they understand that just because there's not light in it, that there's still heat, because they are very hot. But I mean, just look at all these babies. Isn't that an incredible amount of little ones running around? And you can see all of these yellow ones are Welsh Harlequin. And it looks like we actually have several gold phase in here too, as well as silver phase. That's really exciting. There you can see, oh, can I get you on camera with the way you're seeing? This little one right here actually has a dark bill. That is a male duckling. And here is one of the girls, for sure, with her very light bill with a little black spot at the end. So that's kind of how I tell male from female, and so far it's been very accurate, but it took me 3 years of constantly checking what they were at birth to where they're growing, and then if I didn't like that, giving them to someone else, just for a backyard flock, not for like established breeding. I'm not a big fan of having Welsh Harlequins and just breeding them to breed them without kind of sticking to some of the standards. I know that mine are not perfect. They have a lot that I'm still working on, but it's really important for me to kind of get it as close as possible. And so you'll find that all mine have a really nice gold coloring in there with their feathers, and only one of them is pale. She's not completely faulty, but she definitely could use some more gold in her. We joke and say that she's fearless because she's not afraid to contend with the geese, but her name is Snow because she's a bit paler, but she still has all the other markings. And even gold, it's just not as golden as some of our other girls. So, my aunt really likes Snow, actually, so I'm thinking, unbeknownst to my aunt, that when we get enough ducklings established into our breeding flock that we want to keep, Snow will probably go live with her, you know, so she can hang out there or get moved to like a pet pen once we get enough room for one. So you can kind of see this is everything going on. I know it's pretty messy in here. You know, we have ducklings, so what do you expect? It just kind of is what it is. You can see they even messed up their water. I need to change that out. You'd be amazed at how frequently it needs to be changed out, but we started using these for water and feed, and that's actually worked out really well. And you can see we only filled their feed halfway full because they just can't finish it all when it's completely full quite yet, but quickly it will be to a point where we need a couple of feeders. So far we're keeping about 10 ducklings. So I guess we'll see kind of what happens, but I just kind of wanted to show everyone off, and you can see what all's going on here. There are a lot of babies, and they're having the time of their life, and that doesn't include what's in the incubator that you just saw. So we are very busy into duckling season, and if you're interested in kind of how we hatch ducklings, I have a lot of videos where I kind of show the process over time of how to tell if eggs are good or bad, the different types of bad eggs and what causes it. And then I actually have like a video compilation where I add them all together, and you can just kind of see the ups and downs of hatching duck eggs. Now, I do not claim to be an expert, but I think I'm getting pretty good at hatching duck eggs. However, chicken eggs, I'm currently hatching only our second batch of chicken eggs to ever hatch, and last time it just didn't go to plan. So I'm kind of excited to see how that goes and keep you guys updated. Hopefully we'll get better at hatching out chickens, but until recently it hasn't been a priority because I am not a chicken person. I can admire chickens, and I'm just not as crazy about chickens as I am ducks and geese, but my son wants to raise his own chickens and have his own chicken eggs to eat and also learn to hatch to sell. So I'm going to be supporting him in that endeavor, and we'll see how it goes. And I appreciate everyone sticking with us. If you're new here, welcome. We are so excited to have you. We are an urban homestead, and we are still learning, and I hope you can kind of learn along with us and maybe even help us find some tips. We have learned so much from our viewers, and we are so grateful for each and every one of you. And if you've been here for a while, thank you guys for sticking around with us and helping us learn and supporting us in what we do. It means a lot to us, and it actually really helps us to have other people to gather information from. So I hope you all have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you guys soon.